Yeyanila Premadanna Kadana Pracho Hena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kahamora Svaruprupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamara Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kaviraj Eka Kale Kota Gela Koranataraj Ashane Katiba Mata Annale Pashiba Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pava Se Sabba Sangira Sanghe Ye Koro Vilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narathamada Yeyanila Prema Dana Karuna Pracho Hena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Okay, so today is a special, say, holiday or occasion, and it is the day Haridasa Thakur is the day Haridasa Thakur left this world, the disappearance of Haridasa Thakur. Srila Haridasa Thakur, Namacharya Srila Haridasa Thakur. So on these days we usually sing this song, Sparshada Bhagavad Viraha Janita Vilapa, or Lamentation due to separation from the Lord and his associates, from Prarthana by Narottam Das Thakur. So I'll just read this translation. Read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Srup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatt and Gopal Bhatt, and where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. So some people say, oh, well, what? It's understandable you celebrate somebody's appearance day or birthday, but why would you celebrate the time somebody leaves this world? Usually people don't do that. The Vaishnava understanding is that the examples given of the rising and the setting of the sun. So both are beautiful. Rising is very beautiful. The appearance of a great personality is very beautiful. And also the setting of the sun is also very beautiful. Many people go and watch the sunset. So the disappearance of a great personality is just like the sun setting. And it's also, a time where you could glorify such a personality. And specifically in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is in Antya-lila, chapter 11, there is a chapter which is entitled The Passing of Haridasa Thakur. We have a verse here. So we'll just hear about and speak about the passing away of Haridasa Thakur. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay. I think it's Namami Haridasam Tam Chaitanyam Tam Chatat Prabhum Samstitam Apiyan Murtim Sankhe Kritva Nanartayaha Namami Haridasam Tam Chaitanyam Tam Chaitanyam Tam Chatat Prabhum Samstitam Apiyan Murtim Sankhe Kritva Nanartayaha Namami Haridasam Tam Chaitanyam Tam Chatat Prabhum Samstitam Apiyan Murtim Sanke Kritva Nadartya Yaha. Please chant.
Nami Haridasam Tam Chaitanyam Tam Chitakratam Samsitamati Murtim Sanke Kripananatyaya. Nami Haridasam Tam Chaitanyam Tam Chitakratam Samsitamati Murtim Sanke Kripananatyaya.
All right. All right. Okay. All right. So, word by word translation. Namami, I offer my respectful obeisances. Haridasam, unto Haridas Thakur. Tam, him. Chaitanyam, unto Lord Chaitanya. Tam, him. Cha, also. Tat Prabhum, his master. Samstitam, dead. Api, certainly. Yat, whose. Mortim, bodily form. Anke, on his lap. Kritva, keeping. Nunarta, danced. Yaha, Ihu. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Haridas Thakur and his master Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who danced with the body of Haridas Thakur on his lap. So we're just skipping to text 16. So before we continue. Om Megani Tipadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhakam Kariravachalam Pangam Lam Langayati Girim Yakripata Maham Vande Shri Gurum Diritanam Vancha Kapadru Bishta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so this is 16. One day Govinda, the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went in great jubilation to deliver the remnants of Lord Jagannath's food to Haridas Thakur. When Govinda came to Haridas, he saw that Haridas Thakur was lying on his back and chanting his rounds very slowly. Please rise and take your Mahaprasadam, Govinda said. Haridas Thakur replied, Today I shall observe fasting. I have not finished chanting my regular number of rounds. How then can I eat? But you have brought Mahaprasad, and how can I neglect it? Saying this, he offered prayers to the Mahaprasadam, took a little portion, and ate it. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Haridas's place and inquired from him, Haridas, are you well? Haridas offered his obeisance to the Lord and replied, My body is all right, but my mind and intelligence are not well. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further inquired from Haridas, Can you ascertain what your disease is? Haridas Thakur replied. Does anybody remember what he replied with? All right, we'll read it here. Maybe you know because you're reading it on your phones. I'm on text 23. Yeah, we chanted the first verse, and then we read the first verse, and then we continued to read from text 16. So now we're on 23. Haridasa Thakur replied, "My disease is that I cannot complete my rounds." Purport: If one cannot complete the fixed number of rounds he is assigned, he should be considered to be in a diseased condition of spiritual life. Srila Haridasa Thakur is called Namacharya. Of course, we cannot imitate Haridasa Thakur, but everyone must chant a prescribed number of rounds. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have fixed 16 rounds as the minimum, so that the Westerners will not feel burdened. These 16 rounds must be chanted, and chanted loudly, so that one can hear himself and others. Now that you have become old, this is text 24, the Lord said, "You may reduce the number of rounds you chant daily. You are already liberated, and therefore you need not follow the regulative principles very strictly. Your role in this incarnation is to deliver the people in general. You have sufficiently preached the glories of the holy name in this world." The Lord concluded, "Now therefore please reduce the fixed number of times you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra." Haridasa Thakur replied, "Kindly hear my real plea. I was born in an inferior family, and my body is most abominable. I always engage in low work, therefore I am the lowest, most condemned of men. I am unseeable and untouchable, but you have accepted me as your servant. This means you have delivered me from a hellish condition and raised me to the Vaikuntha platform. My dear Lord, you are the fully independent personality of Godhead. You act by your own free will. You cause the whole world to dance and act as you like. My dear Lord, by your mercy you have made me dance in many ways. For example, I was offered the Shraddha Patra, which should have been offered to first-class Brahmins. I ate from it even though I was born in a family of meat-eaters. I have had one desire for a very long time. I think that quite soon, my Lord, you will bring to close your pastimes within this material world. I wish that you not show me this closing chapter of your pastimes. Before that time comes, kindly let my body fall down in your presence. I wish to catch your lotus-like feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face. With my tongue I shall chant your holy name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That is my desire. Kindly let me give up my body in this way. O most merciful Lord, if by your mercy it is possible, kindly grant my desire. Let this low-born body fall down before you. You can make possible this perfection of all my desires. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Haridas, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want." So this is an interesting point. This is an important point here that he said he must execute whatever you want. So therefore there's this idea that we need to get the blessings of devotees who are very closely connected with Krishna, because if they pray on our behalf, if they talk to Krishna on our behalf, then we have a better chance. Why? Because it says right here, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want. Why? Because he is a pure devotee. So, but whatever happiness is mine is all due to your association. It is not fitting for you to go away and leave me behind. Catching the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, Haridasa Thakur said, "My Lord, do not create an illusion. Although I am so fallen, you must certainly show me this mercy. My Lord, there are many respectful personalities, millions of devotees who are fit to sit on my head. They are all helpful in your pastimes. My Lord, if an insignificant insect like me dies, what is the loss? If an ant dies, where is the loss to the material world? My Lord, you are always affectionate to your devotees. I am just an imitation devotee, but nevertheless I wish that you fulfill my desire. That is my expectation." Because he had to perform his noon duties, Lord Chaitanya got up to leave, but it was settled that the following day, after he saw Lord Jagannath, he would return to visit Haridasa Thakur. After embracing him, Lord Chaitanya had left to perform his noon duties and went to the sea to take his bath. The next morning, after visiting the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accompanied by all his devotees, went hastily to see Haridasa Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees came before Haridasa Thakur, who offered his respects to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and all the Vaishnavas. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, "My dear Haridas, what is the news?" Haridasa Thakur replied, "My Lord, whatever mercy you can bestow upon me." Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately began great congregational chanting in the courtyard. Harekrishna Pandit was the chief dancer. Does anyone remember how long Harekrishna Pandit could dance for? 72 hours. It's long dancing time. Headed by Srup Damodar Goswami, all the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surrounded Haridasa Thakur and began congregational chanting. In front of all the great devotees like Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to describe the holy attributes of Haridasa Thakur. As he described the transcendental attributes of Haridasa Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seemed to possess 5 mouths. The more he described, the more his great happiness increased. After hearing of the transcendental qualities of Haridasa Thakur, all the devotees present were struck with wonder. They all offered their respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of Haridasa Thakur. Haridasa Thakur made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down in front of him, and then he fixed his eyes like 2 bumblebees on the lotus face of the Lord. He held the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his heart, and then took the dust of the feet of all the devotees present and put it on his head. He began to chant the holy names of Sri Krishna Chaitanya again and again. As he drank the sweetness of the face of the Lord, tears constantly glided down from his eyes. While chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, he gave up his air of life and left his body. Seeing the wonderful death of Haridasa Thakur by his own will, which was just like a great mystic yogi's, everyone remembered the passing away of Bhishma. There was a tumultuous noise as they all chanted the holy names, Hari and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. The Lord raised the body of Haridasa Thakur and placed it on his lap. Then he began to dance in the courtyard in great ecstatic love. Because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, all the devotees were helpless, and in ecstatic love they also began to dance and chant congregationally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced for some time, and then Srup Damodar Goswami informed him of other rituals for the body of Thakur Haridas. The body of Haridas Thakur was then raised onto a carrier that resembled an airship. Interesting properties, that word airship, huh? And taken to the sea, accompanied by congregational chanting. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in front of the procession, and Harekrishna Pandit, along with other devotees, chanted and danced behind him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Haridasa Thakur in the sea, and then declared, "From this day on, this sea has become a great pilgrimage site." So if you go, or when you go to Jagannath Puri, usually, Jagannath Puri, it's right there on the close to the ocean. The main Jagannath temple is close to the ocean, and devotees stay around the Jagannath temple because that's where all the holy places are. So you could visit the place, Haridasa Thakur's tomb, his samadhi, where they buried his body, which is just right across the street from our ISKCON temple, and also, again, close to the temple. There's the ocean, so devotees go there and bathe in the ocean. And as it's Lord Chaitanya stated here, it's considered to be a holy place or place of pilgrimage. And also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would go there regularly. So, if you go to Jagannath Puri, or when you go into town, there's a huge statue of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's like, I don't know, a little bigger than that door where that exit sign is from the floor to the exit sign. Maybe something like that. But he's big statue of Lord Chaitanya. He's dancing. So the residents of Jagannath Puri recognize Lord Chaitanya. Everyone drank the water that had touched the lotus feet of Haridasa Thakur, and then they smeared remnants of Lord Jagannath's sandalwood pulp over Haridasa Thakur's body. After a hole was dug in the sand, the body of Haridasa Thakur was placed into it. Remnants from Lord Jagannath, such as his silken rope, sandalwood pulp, food, and cloth, were placed on the body. All around the body, the devotees performed congregational chanting. Invocation of Punit danced in jubilation. With his transcendental hands, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally covered the body of Haridasa Thakur with sand, chanting Haribol, Haribol. The devotees covered the body of Haridasa Thakur with sand and then constructed a platform upon the site. The platform was protected all around by fencing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and chanted all around the platform, and as the holy name of Hari roared tumultuously, the whole universe became filled with the vibration. After Sankirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in the sea with his devotees, swimming and playing in the water in great jubilation. After circumambulating the tomb of Haridasa Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Singadwara gate of Jagannath Temple. The whole city chanted in congregation, and the tumultuous sound vibrated all over the city. So then they have a big feast. It says they're collecting alms, and they have a big feast, serve all the devotees. And then they glorify Haridasa Thakur some more. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told everyone, "Say all glories to Haridasa Thakur and chant the holy name of Hari." Saying this, he personally began to dance. Everyone began to chant, "All glories to Haridasa Thakur," who revealed the importance of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Jaya 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 Haridas. Thereafter, so this is text 100, thereafter Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to all the devotees, and he himself, with mixed feelings of happiness and distress, took rest. Thus I have spoken about the victorious passing away of Haridasa Thakur. Anyone who hears this narration will certainly fix his mind firmly in devotional service to Krishna. From the incident of Haridasa Thakur's passing away and the great care of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, took in is that word? 102. I'm sorry. I'm commemorating. Yeah, sorry. Commemorating. Sorry. I'm kind of excited when I'm reading about Haridasa Thakur, so my mind's kind of moving fast, and my pronunciation, commemorating it. One can understand just how affectionate he is toward his devotees. Although he is the topmost of all sannyasis, he fully satisfied the desire of Haridasa Thakur. When Haridasa Thakur was at the last stage of his life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him his company and allowed him to touch him. Thereafter he took the body of Thakur Haridas in his lap and personally danced with it. Out of his causeless mercy, the Lord personally covered the body of Haridasa Thakur with sand and personally begged alms from the shopkeepers. Then he conducted a great festival to celebrate the passing away of Haridasa Thakur. Haridasa Thakur was not only the topmost devotee of the Lord, but also a great and learned scholar. It was his great fortune that he passed away before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are exactly like an ocean of nectar, one drop of which can please the mind and ear. Anyone who desires to cross over the ocean of nescience, please hear with great faith the life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita falling in their footsteps. There's 108 verses in this chapter. So yeah, it's we got to hear about the passing away of Haridasa Thakur, and as Srila Prabhupada he mentions, or as it was mentioned in the beginning of this reading, Haridasa Thakur was apparently not feeling so well. And then they asked him, well, what's wrong? And then Haridasa Thakur said, well, my body's all right, but my mind and intelligence isn't well. And then devotees asked Lord Chaitanya, well, what's the problem? He said, I have a disease. I can't chant my rounds. I can't finish my rounds. That's what he said. So, Srila Prabhupada, he asked devotees to chant at least 16 rounds. We could chant more, 25, 32, 64. I don't know about 192, but that's what Haridasa Thakur was chanting every day, 192 rounds. It's a lot. And I was listening to a lecture recently, and Srila Prabhupada said that, in Nectar of Devotion in Vrindavan, Prabhupada said that, 16 rounds, that's nothing. He said some devotees in Vrindavan, even nowadays, he said they chant many rounds, 64 rounds, even more than that. That's what he said. So he said, that's nothing, but we have fixed this number because Westerners aren't so accustomed to it, and whatever. Somehow or other, they're not accustomed and difficult for them, and so we fixed 16 rounds at least. So we should chant 16 rounds at least 16 rounds every day. And sometimes devotees get into the habit of chanting a fixed number of rounds, which they vow to chant 16 rounds, but sometimes due to being too busy, right, working or going to school or with temple services or running around, all this, it's a busy world, right? So being too busy, sometimes devotees say, okay, well, it's 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night. I didn't finish my rounds, my 4 rounds or my 8 rounds or whatever. Okay, I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Mañana, right? When Prabhupada went to Mexico City, on a side note, this is but related. When Prabhupada went to Mexico City, there's this devotee Chitsukananda there, and he actually was quite successful. He opened a temple and so many devotees, and he was quite successful in a very short time. Amazing. So Prabhupada went there with Shyamasundar, and they went to the airport, his whole pastime in itself, and then they went to the temple, and Shyamasundar was writing that Prabhupada was really appreciating the devotees down there. They're very respectful, and Shyamasundar said it was like they were treating him like the Pope or something. The Pope was walking in, and they were awe and reverence and respect and all that. And I believe the first night Prabhupada was there, Chitsukananda told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, there's a TV show and they want to host you. And Prabhupada said, how many people watch it? And I think he said some really large number, like 1 million people, something like that, maybe more. And then Prabhupada said, well, what was that, Mahabharat? Thought he said something. 9 million, okay. He said 9 million people, okay, 9 million people. So Prabhupada said, well, when does he want us to come on? When does he want us to? And then Chitsukananda said, well, we could go tonight, or we could go in the next few days. It's up to us. And then Prabhupada said, let's go tonight. And then but the Chitsukananda said, Prabhupada, but they want us to go on like 11:30 at night. Quite late. And then Prabhupada said, that's okay. He said, we'll go on late. He said, tonight we'll preach, and then tomorrow we'll sleep. In the daytime. Of course, Prabhupada, he didn't do that. He just preached, and he didn't sleep much. But
it was a very, very
popular TV show. Okay. You want to give her the mic? He's got a mic. He'll pass you the mic.
Thank you. This was very popular in Mexico. How Sabludowski had attained so much popularity. So Chitsukananda met him before, and explained to him the philosophy. So Jacobo said to him, maybe you can come on the show sometime. And Chittsukananda said, no, maybe my spiritual master can come. So it was very good for Jacobo that he had Srila Prabhupada. He was very respectful, actually, very, very respectful. And Jacobo was known by being very despotic, like very...
giving people hard times.
Yeah, giving a hard time, but with Prabhupada was very, very good, very respectful,
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that he, when Prabhupada went on there, usually he was kind of, you know how these talk show guys are, they kind of, give people hard time, sarcastic, and at least a lot of at least Western culture, it's like that. But yeah, I heard he was really respectful of Prabhupada, and he asked Prabhupada some questions, and Prabhupada kind of like stunned him. Like he asked some kind of deep philosophical questions, and then Prabhupada responded, and the person was like so stunned he couldn't speak. That's how Shamasundar writes it, how it happened. And he said that he just went to the commercial, So, and then, anyways. So, the point is Prabhupada, or one of the points is that Prabhupada, he wasn't, as Shamasundar reflected, he wasn't into the jnana consciousness. Oh, tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow, does it really happen tomorrow? A lot of times it just gets extended. It'll be 6 months. Prabhupada says that in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that because procrastination, it's an influence of the lower mode of ignorance. He says that what takes something like this, what should take a person a few days or a few hours, for someone who's infected, with the lower modes, it'll take years. Long time, years. Takes like few hours, it takes years. It's quite amazing. So anyways, Prabhupada wasn't infected with that jnana conscious, tomorrow. So in relation to chanting rounds, it could be a challenge. Would you like to take the mic back? It could be a challenge because you say, tomorrow I'll do it. And then tomorrow there's 16 rounds plus 4 or plus 8, right? So there's more rounds. And then maybe you chant most of them, or maybe you don't chant most of them. Maybe you chant your 16 rounds and you got another 8, and then it could just be building up like this over time. I knew a devotee like that. One brahmachari, he was sick, this and that, and then he wasn't chanting it. It just like built up. I think he kept track, but it built up to quite a lot, like so many rounds. I don't know how much, like 100 more, so like a lot of rounds. It's nice he kept track, I guess, but better just to chant them. And then one devotee found out about that, the temple president. He just said, okay, you're completely off any morning services, and you just have to sit here and chant your rounds. So yeah, we should try to avoid that, even if it's late. Of course, ideally, shouldn't wait till it's late, but if it is late, just chant them. As Prabhupada, as we said yesterday, we're discussing yesterday, Prabhupada said, if you having a hard time chanting rounds, you just said sleep less. So yeah, Haridasa Thakur, he really thought that this was, even though he was elderly and whatever, maybe some health issues, but he said, this is it really bothered him, that he couldn't chant his 192 rounds. So that's a lesson there. And there's so many things to discuss about Haridasa Thakur, but just like one or two of the things that Prabhupada said that we shouldn't imitate Haridasa Thakur. So, for example, it's like maybe somebody's chanting their rounds, or they're in the temple room, chanting their rounds and everything, and maybe they're chanting a lot more rounds than usual, and then somebody comes up and says, "Hey, Prabhu, we need some help. We got a big festival, and can you help cut up?" Or, "Hey, let's go out on Sankirtan. It's your day to go out on Sankirtan. You're ready to go out." And Prabhupada said, in relation to this, he said, the devotee shouldn't say, "Oh, well, I can't do that. I can't go help cook, or I can't go out on Sankirtan. I'm too busy imitating Haridasa Thakur." So that's the idea. We shouldn't be, imitating Haridasa Thakur, but, there's things we need to do. But of course, we could also try to chant more, if possible. And the last thing is that in relation to having a taste for chanting, there was a morning walk, and devotees were discussing with Prabhupada, how do we know if we have a taste? And then Prabhupada said, well, you won't think, why only 16 rounds? Why not 16,000 rounds? You like chanting. You want to chant more. Not that it's, I got to chant, and it's like a chore or something very difficult. It's easy to chant. And when possible, chant more. And, so that, and then he talked about Haridasa Thakur, that Haridasa Thakur wasn't like he was being forced to chant. He liked to chant, and he chanted 192 rounds. I mean, there's proof that he liked to chant. He's Namacharya. He's the Acharya, the teacher of the holy names. There's a wonderful book, Harinam Chintamani, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes. It's Lord Chaitanya and Haridasa Thakur speaking to each other, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives purports. So it's a wonderful book. Devotees read about the holy name. On this particular day, his disappearance, his appearance, and in general, we could pray to Haridasa Thakur to give us a taste for the holy name, for his mercy. He's such an exalted personality, devotee within our tradition. So we need his mercy. Okay, so does anyone have any questions or comments?
Concerning the chanting and the difficulty that we all have, the formula, right? The 4 rounds before everything.
Yeah.
Like that is so easy. It seems so easy.
Yeah.
4 rounds before Mangalarti, 4 rounds before Prasadam, 4 rounds, and then you're done. And
Okay.
it seems that 4 rounds is not that much. So we should do it. But I just want to mention something, that some devotees that had left the movement, that have gone to another branch, they go because they are allowed to only chant 4 rounds. They are allowed to chant less.
Okay.
And it's something that is out of their mind, and they say, well, we can only chant. It doesn't matter. So that's a terrible thing, because Prabhupada said 64, and then he went to half, 32, and then he said, okay, at least 16.
Yeah.
And then to say, it's a disease, obviously, because they are saying also that Prabhupada didn't give us enough, or didn't give us all the knowledge.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the minimums, or the basic. And then I have another story.
Okay.
I used to take care of elderly and people that were sick in Florida. So one time I got this job with a lady that had Alzheimer's. Alex was her name. So she was very rich, very wealthy, very well educated, but now she had Alzheimer's, so everything was gone, right? So she was not talking or anything, and every time I took her to the park, I would go with my japa and chant, and she would sit and watch the kids, the birds, or whatever. So she wouldn't talk anymore. She was not talking. Her mind was gone. But one day, on our way to the park, I was with the japa, and I was Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, repeating the mantra. And she looked at me and she said, "You already said that too many times."
That's funny.
So it's funny how the mind works. Krishna made her listen. She was aware of the knowledge. So Krishna was giving.
That's nice. Yeah, nice.
Hare Krishna. I like the point that you had made about seizing the opportunity, and you give the example that Prabhupada, even though the program, the TV show was running late at night, was saying, we should do it, we shouldn't put things off. And again, you're saying that, why manana? Why do something tomorrow that you can do today? And I think that's we should be very conscious of our activities. You know, His Holiness Ranat Maharaj explains how the test of spiritual life is that, you know, one of the challenges is being complacent. That perhaps, you know, if we're comfortable, if we're like situated in our devotional service, in our environment, there may not be so much impetus unless we're like inspired. But really, it's like, how can we sustain our inspiration so that every moment, every day, we're looking forward to doing something wonderful for Krishna, because there's so much opportunity. I know we can go deep into a service, we can take up projects, and what's holding us back from really just giving our all and thriving in our own Krishna consciousness, and in return, you know, all of us striving together as a community to do something wonderful for the world and for Prabhupada.
You're saying what's holding us back?
What's holding us back?
Are you asking me?
Asking all of us.
Huh? Oh, rhetorical question? I don't know. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
I have a story about mañana. A terrible story. It was raining, and all the brahmacharis wanted to go on Haridasa. I was the only girl there. And I said, no, it's raining, it's too much food in the ice. No. So they went. They were chanting in the rain. And there was this lady that was so impressed. She was a Christian. She was so impressed to see all these chanting and meditation in the rain. All these boys, only boys, you know, were in saffron chanting in the rain, Miami Beach, or could it be Coconut Grove? I don't remember. Well, the devotees came back with a house. The Mataji donated a house to them.
Oh, nice.
So we had a preaching center. It was a Spanish preaching center later on. And in my heart, I was like so devastated because I was not part of it. It was the devotees that were so fired up, dedicated, and willing to go. I mean, you might think that, no, this is not a material proper setup for me to go and do it. But they came back with a house. And it was only few of you. It was the preaching center, very few, not many, maybe 6 devotees. So we stay in that preaching center for a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, and the holy name is there for us, not to save others, but to save us. Yesterday I was in the plane and there was turbulence. And of course everybody was like, oh, whatever. And I said, okay, chant Hare Krishna. So I started chanting, you know, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And then my mind started thinking, oh, what about if we crash? What about if we have to land in an island? And then I thought, oh, great, I have lots of chatters and I have a picture of Krishna, so I can set up immediately a shack, like a meditation rooms for everybody to come and chant Hare Krishna, you know. So the Maha Mantra is saving us, because this is what it is. Then Mataji, we had a misunderstanding on what time, I should be picked up. So it was late and I was there and I said, okay, you have your japa beads, so chant. So Prabhupada also says that you save yourself first. In that way you can save others.
Awesome. Good.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, that's when you're saying, oh, what's holding us back yet? So, as Haridasa Thakur is given the example, and Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami and all these great devotees, to have faith in the holy name and also take shelter in it as much as possible, because that's like our saving grace. That is where we get our power or an empowerment to do things. You know, the enthusiasm comes from the holy name. Of course, holy name, you know, association, devotees, and so on. But yeah, so you go out on book distribution today, and you might get a house. Yeah, that's true. One devotee, Vaisheshkar Prabhu, he says, okay, I challenge you. He says, here, I have a card here, and you say, sometimes he says, do you believe in the power of prayer, or do you believe in the power of mantra, or something like that? So, and then he goes, okay, I challenge you. I think when he says, do you believe in the power of the prayer, and they say no, he says, okay, good, this is a mantra. Yeah, and then so yeah, he gets him some, and then he says, okay, now repeat after me, Hare Krishna. And the challenge is you should repeat this without smiling, and people have a hard time chanting. That's what he does out on Sankirtan. Oh, you should chant. Can you chant this mantra without smiling? So it means they're forced to smile. Of course, Vaisheshika Prabhu is there, and he's like a transcendental, powerhouse. Kind of helps, Maybe if you had somebody out there, I don't know, who wasn't as fired up as Vaisheshika Prabhu, that maybe they could chant while frowning. But with Vaisheshika Prabhu, I mean, it's like. Yeah. Okay. All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavat. Grantaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Haridasa Thakur Ki Jai.